Té la llum de les estrelles, de les de tota la vida, de les estrelles de debò, i a més la té amb naturalitat. Amb tots nosaltres, amb tots vosaltres, Susan Sarandon.
So I just came back to my hotel the other night, and there was a family that had been waiting there for me, and their little boy is called Ben-Hur, and they said they were coming tonight. So is Ben-Hur's father here? Did you make it?
Ahir quan vaig sortir de l'hotel hi havia una família esperant-me, estava els pares del Ben i el Ben. Què hi és a la sala? Que està o no?
It's a miracle. There he is, the father of Ben-Hur. I'm very glad you got here.
Quin miracle, ha vingut, fantàstic, benvingut.
Bona nit, senyora Sarandon. He tornat a veure Thelma i Louise i m'he quedat impressionada de comprovar com aquesta pel·lícula s'avançava al Me Too, que bé que van fer el càsting, per cert. Quan la rodaven, la primera pregunta és quan la rodaven amb Ridley Scott, eren conscients de la transcendència que podria tenir el tema que tractaven i de que obrien un meló que, per desgràcia, continua avui més vigent que mai?
Good evening, Mrs. Sarandon. Thank you very much for being here. I've really been impacted watching the Thelma and Louise film. It's a wonderful casting, by the way. When you were filming this movie with Ridley Scott, were you aware of the importance of the subject and how much you were ahead of your times, like opening a melon that was going to be ripe in the future?
I'm sorry to disappoint, but when we made it, we just wanted to have a good time. It was very unusual to be able to work with another woman in a film where you're not hating the other woman. And we thought of it as, a chance to be badass and be cowboys. And we had absolutely no idea that it would end up meaning so much to so many people.
Doncs la veritat és que em sap greu decebre't, Conxita, perquè quan vam fer la pel·lícula senzillament ens ho vam passar molt bé, no teníem ni idea que ens ho passaríem tan bé. Era inusual fer una pel·lícula on hi haguessin dues dones que no acabessin odiant-se. Només vam jugar a fer de cowboy i no teníem ni idea que tindria tantíssima importància per tantíssima gent després en el futur.
El col·loqui tindrà una durada aproximada de mitja hora. Us preguem preguntes ràpides, intel·ligents, ja sé que les fareu. Si li ve de gust, la primera pregunta la podria fer l'alcaldessa de Barcelona, de Colau, que ens acompanya aquesta nit. Senyora Colau, on la tenim?
Conxita, vaig a traduir això. The Q&A will last for half an hour, more or less, and she hopes that they will ask in quick and, of course, intelligent questions. And the first question is going to come from the mayoress of Barcelona, Mrs. Ada Colau. So where are you, Mrs. Colau?
Welcome to Barcelona. Thank you for coming. We love you. It's not a question. I only want to thank you. Thank you for your art. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your values, for your commitment with social justice, with democracy, with human rights, with feminism. You are very, very important for us, and thank you. Thank you for coming here, and welcome to Barcelona. Thank you.
Bé, li ha donat la benvinguda, li dona les gràcies per estar aquí amb tots nosaltres. No té cap pregunta, la senyora Colau, només li vol agrair la seva presència, el seu art, la seva feina, els seus valors, el seu compromís, el seu suport als valors socials, a la democràcia. És molt important rebre la visita a la senyora Sarandon aquí, per tant, li està molt agraïda.
And I want to thank you for your example of bravery in supporting the people of Palestine.
També li vol agrair a vostè, senyora Colau, el seu exemple i la seva valentia donant suport a les seves causes.
Molt bé, doncs obrim el col·loqui. La primera pregunta, qui la vol fer? Aquí davant?
Okay, comencem aquí davant, open the question and let's see who wants to ask the first question here on the first row.
Com creus que ha envellit la pel·lícula, personalment?
Com creus que?
Ha envellit.
Envellit. How do you think the movie has gotten old? The movie has gotten old. Old has aged. Yes, the movie has aged. How do you think the movie has aged? Yes.
You tell me, you just saw it.
Per què no li dius tu, que l'acabes de veure?
I mean, I don't think that things have changed enough for women. Not in my business. You know, when they mention Texas and don't go through Texas now either.
No ha canviat significativament. En el meu món, tampoc. Has vist a la pel·lícula que deia no passis per Texas? No passis per Texas.
Jo, com a crítica de cinema i directora del festival, permetem que et digui que crec que no ha envellit la pel·lícula, que manté perfectament l'actualitat, per desgràcia, no? Segons el que estàvem comentant.
As a director of the festival, she believes the movie has not aged and it's still a very current subject, unfortunately.
El bon cinema no envelleix.
I haven't aged either. Not at all.
Ella tampoc, oi?
Ella tampoc, no. Més preguntes? Aquí, sisplau.
More questions? Another one here?
Hola, bona nit. Gràcies. No sé si la puc tutejar.
Okay, in Spanish we have two,
Sí?
and you
Doncs
lose
Susan,
more respect.
moltes gràcies per venir.
You look very young. So thank you very much for being here.
Ha sigut molt
La
interessant.
pots tutejar.
Ha sigut molt interessant doncs,
It
veure
has
la
been very
pel·lícula de nou i
interesting
que estiguis
to
aquí amb
watch
nosaltres.
the movie and to have you
Voldria
here
saber
with us.
si
He wants to know
abans del rodatge coneixies a la Gina,
filming, you knew Gina.
no com a treball, sinó si us coneixíeu
yes.
personalment. No.
I didn't, but I'm still friends with her now.
Okay.
No, però encara són amigues.
Val, doncs, sabent aquest matís, voldria saber
No
quin va ser el
windies.
treball amb el director, amb Ridley Scott, i el
wants to
vostre,
know
si vau quedar
the
bastant
working
abans de fer els
process,
assajos per
with
aconseguir
Gina
aquesta
and the
complicitat,
director.
perquè és que,
Because there is
bé,
a
no sé si ho
complicity
compartim
with
tots,
Gina.
però és que semblen
Everybody
amigues de
thinks
tota la
that you
vida, és a
seem
dir,
like
el que ens
friends
transmeten
for life.
és que
No,
no sabem
friends, the way
des
you
de
speak
quan
to each
són
other,
amigues,
the way you
però
look at each
és
other.
una
How long
complicitat
have you been
bestial.
friends? It's a
Voldria saber el treball que
complicity
van fer
the one
elles
you have.
dues
So how
per
did you work
aconseguir-ho.
that in order to be so
Gràcies.
Well, we were the only two women in a sea of cigar-smoking crazy guys. So we had each other, and she's very professional and very talented and very funny. And so, of course, I fell in love with her, and I had my family there, and she was very close to them. And but I think it was a very bonding experience because physically it was difficult. And as I said, there were, it was just us, and then all these guys with their shirts off and, following Ridley around because it's surprising that he did this film. He's a very macho kind of guy, and he did a great job, and he collaborated a lot with us. He was he listened to us too, which was great. I'll give you an example after you, that's too much, so you go ahead.
Doncs sí, és veritat, però et pots imaginar que aquesta complicitat ve del fet que eren només dues dones envoltades d'un mar d'homes fumant puros, no? I la Gina és una persona molt professional, té molt de talent, de seguida m'hi vaig enamorar. Jo tenia amb mi a la meva família, van establir un lligam molt estret de seguida i bé, era una pel·lícula que tant física com psicològicament era molt difícil, envoltades d'homes, de vegades sense samarretes, i el Ridley Scott, si el coneixes, és un home molt tipus macho, no? Però va fer una feina fantàstica, va col·laborar molt amb nosaltres i a més va escoltar molt totes les idees que nosaltres li vam donar. I vol continuar, però em volia deixar traduir primer.
I think that one of the main reasons Ridley wanted to do the film was to blow up that truck. He was very excited about blowing up that truck. But at a certain point I said to him, I'm so sick of driving in all the dust and yelling all the time and everything. Can't we just have a scene where we just stop And I get out and there's no words and it's just like you're tripping and you're looking at the desert and she realizes that, you know, maybe she doesn't have that much time left, but she doesn't really talk about it. To be continued. Go ahead.
Bé, jo crec que la principal raó per la que el Ridley Scott va voler fer aquesta pel·lícula és que volia veure com saltava pels aires un camió. No, de veritat, però va haver-hi un moment que jo li vaig dir, mira, estic farta de conduir, farta de menjar pols i farta de cridar tota l'estona, per què no m'aturo un moment i sense paraules contemplo el paisatge i me n'adono, com a protagonista de la pel·lícula, que ja no em queda gaire temps. Continua.
When an actor has an idea, you know, it's good to come up with suggestions, but an actor doesn't necessarily realize that it's going to take 7 hours to light the desert so you can get out and have that moment. But Ridley did that, and that scene is in the movie. And so I thought that was amazing that he's a very visual person, and when we were cutting another scene that didn't feel right, he said, well, what would I be shooting? And then we talked about that. So he was very collaborative with us, and it was a kind of give and take from someone who was not known to be a woman's director. So when the movie came out, a lot of people said, how did that happen? You know, but he was actually very generous with us.
Doncs mira, quan a un actor o actriu se li acut una idea, no pensa que es trigaran 7 hores en il·luminar el desert perquè es pugui rodar aquesta escena, no? Però el Ridley Scott va dir que sí. I va ser sorprenent perquè, a més, ell és una persona molt visual. Tenia al cap una altra escena, però va aturar-se per rodar aquesta. Va col·laborar moltíssim, va ser una cosa de toma i daca, i ell no era el típic director de dones, però va tenir una actitud molt i molt generosa amb nosaltres.
Més preguntes?
Any other question?
Allà.
Over there?
Allà, sisplau, i després aquí anirem pujant, vale? Allà.
Hello, Susan. It's wonderful that you are here. I wanted to ask, what was your preparation for the role, and what things could you relate to your character, if that makes sense?
La pregunta és, gràcies, és meravellós tenir-te aquí, com et vas preparar pel paper i amb què t'identificaves? Just translated the question into Catalan.
The script was very simple, but it didn't have details in it. It didn't say where they were from. So when I asked Ridley, where are they driving from, how long does it take, because what accent should I be using? And he said, well, just use that accent. But my accent wasn't Southern. So in preparation, we had to figure out, how long they were on the road, so that, if it was too long, then it didn't seem like they would do something so crazy. It's, if you don't have any sleep for 2 weeks, it's different than if you have 3 months that you're hiding, And then, all right,
No, it's okay. You can go if you want. Bé, el guió era bastant senzill i a més no incluïa molts detalls. Per exemple, no deia d'on veníem, ni cap a on anàvem, ni quanta estona havíem d'estar conduint. Pel que fa a l'accent, jo li vaig preguntar al Ridley, però què faig amb l'accent? Diu, aquest accent. I bé, has de calcular una miqueta cap a on vas, perquè no és el mateix si has de conduir i portes 2 setmanes sense dormir que si portes 3 mesos.
I learned to shoot. I learned to drive and be able to drive and pick up a hat. I learned to I drove most of the stunts in the movie with the camera attached to the front. I had to line up sometimes the camera was on a wheel of a truck that was next to me, so I had to be able to line up the lens of the camera in a certain way to be able to be seen, which just goes to show you that you do your best acting when you're not paying attention to acting.
Vaig haver d'aprendre a disparar, vaig haver d'aprendre a conduir de manera que pogués atrapar un barret a mitges, no? Vaig haver d'aprendre moltes escenes. De vegades la càmera estava davant del cotxe, ubicada, però de vegades també estava a sobre de la roda d'un camió, al costat. I bé, això demostra que la millor manera d'actuar és quan no te n'adones que estàs actuant. Another question here in the front.
Aquí. Aquesta noia que aixecava la mà.
Hi, Susan. It's such an honor to have you here with us.
Gracias.
And you are wearing my favorite color.
A lot of your favorite color.
Green is so far my favorite color. So my question is if there is any scene in particular that you'd call as your favorite one.
That's my favorite what?
Scene.
Favorite scene from the movie. Yeah.
Molt bé, diu que ha dit... I'm going to translate what she said. Ha dit que hola i que moltíssimes gràcies, que és un honor tenir-la aquí, que li agrada molt el vestit, el color que porta, el color verd, que és el seu color preferit, i la pregunta és quina és, o si té alguna escena preferida de la pel·lícula. Okay.
Well, I liked the end of the movie. The kiss was not in the script. We had one take because the sun was going down. It was the last day of shooting. And of course, we did all the helicopters and everything else all day long. And then at the very end, we had one take at magic hour, which is called magic hour because the sun is disappearing. And I said to Ridley, I want to try to grab her. And he said, okay. So I just felt that we cut a lot of the talking that was in that scene because we just felt that we'd said everything there was to say and it wasn't a time to really be talking a lot. So I don't know, I liked it all coming together at the very end.
Si hagués d'escollir, crec que escolliria el final de la pel·lícula. El petó no formava part del guió. Era un moment en què s'estava ponent el sol, era l'últim dia del rodatge, havíem destinat moltíssimes hores als helicòpters volant per sobre, havíem dedicat molts recursos aquí i havia arribat el que nosaltres anomenem l'hora màgica, no? Que és el moment aquell tan maco que el sol es posa i aquella llum tan meravellosa. I llavors jo vaig pensar que seria una bona idea agafar-la i fer-li un petó, i amb ell li va semblar bé. Vam retallar tota la part del diàleg que hi havia allà perquè no quedava temps per assajar-ho i així ho vam fer.
Hi havia una altra pregunta en allà, per exemple. Allà? Allà, sí. Després anirem aquí, anirem donant oportunitat a tothom que puguem,
Hello, I am very nervous because I am very fan for you. The last time I see this movie is 10 years ago, and now it's a magic movie. And sorry for my English, but my question is, la hago en español, perdón,
Okay.
es cómo eliges los papeles que vas a hacer y que si sabes la leyenda de San Jordi, ya que tienes una película de Disney que se llama Encantada, en la cual haces de mala, malísima, y hay una princesa y un dragón, etcétera, etcétera.
If you're aware of the San Jordi legend, because there is a movie from Disney that you play a princess, like the legend of San Jordi. So, yeah, he said that he's very nervous. Ha dit també que estava molt nerviós perquè és un gran fan d'ella.
I'm not sure what the question is.
Has dit tantes coses que no estàs segura de quina era la pregunta. Li pots
¿Cómo
fer?
eliges el papel, no? ¿Cómo eliges el papel, no?
So, how do you choose the
¿Era esta la pregunta?
characters?
Oh, how do I choose my parts? See, okay. Well, it has to be something that I didn't do before. I hope when I had little children, then it had to fit in the school schedule. Now I don't have to worry about that. Hopefully there are people that I want to work with. Hopefully it's a director that at least isn't terrible. I love it if I go somewhere that I want to work, to be able to be in an interesting place. It's wonderful to go into a time period or something that you don't know anything about. And I mean, it's a bonus if they pay you. That's really great. And I have to be able to talk about it for a lot of days in a junket. So if it's something that doesn't have anything that scares me, or is something that I can talk about that has a theme that I'm interested in, then I'll, asking the same 5 questions over and over and over in a junket is kind of like Hollywood's way of waterboarding you. It's so crazy. So it has to be something that you really believe in and that you want to talk about.
Doncs mira, ha de ser alguna cosa que no hagi fet abans. Quan tenia nens petits havia d'encaixar en l'horari escolar per poder-los portar a l'escola i recollir-los. Ara ja no tinc aquest problema. Ha de ser amb gent amb la que a mi m'agradi treballar. El director no ha de ser molt terrible. Si puc anar a algun lloc, doncs encara millor. I si és un lloc interessant, ja fantàstic. Viatjar en el temps també m'agrada, remuntar-me a un altre període de la història i a més, si et paguen, doncs és un bonus afegit. Ha de ser alguna cosa que jo pugui comentar i parlar durant dies en una entrevista, que no em faci por, que m'agradi parlar, que m'agradi abordar el tema, perquè clar, si al final acabes contestant les mateixes 5 preguntes durant una entrevista no té cap gràcia. O sigui que ha de ser alguna cosa en la que jo cregui.
Tenim preguntes en aquesta banda també. Allà, per exemple, aixequen una mà. A veure.
Sí. Hola. Jo volia preguntar-te sobre Barcelona. No sé si has estat gaires vegades, quin barri t'agrada, si has estat a algun restaurant, si és una ciutat que t'inspira.
She wants to ask about your visit to Barcelona, if you visit any neighborhood, any favorite neighborhood restaurant, if it's an inspiring city to you.
Well, I've only been here a day and a half, but I plan to also, today we went to the Gaudi home, which blew my mind. I've been to the Picasso Museum. I ate at, was it Pier 7? Port 7.
Set Portas.
Port 7. And another, where was the restaurant this afternoon? That was incredible. Oh my God, that was great. But mostly I've been doing press, so I haven't really been, I wandered a little bit around the Picasso Museum, but after tomorrow, I work again tomorrow, but after tomorrow then I'm hoping to take a little bit of a day trip, maybe to Dali's, do the Dali thing next, and see as much as I can. And I think it's just beautiful, and the weather has been perfect. So I've been very, very lucky, and the food's been great, and everyone seems lovely. So I'm liking it very much. Thank you.
Doncs només porto aquí un dia i mig. He anat a veure alguna cosa de Gaudí, al Museu Picasso, em van portar a sopar al Set Portes. Avui també he dinat, no ha dit on, però ha estat fantàstic. He passat molta estona treballant amb la premsa. He caminat pels voltants del Museu Picasso, però bé, demà tinc que treballar, però demà passat m'agafaré el dia i dedicaré tot el dia a veure els voltants. Faré allò del Dalí, ha dit. I bé, tot sembla molt maco. Ha fet un temps meravellós, he tingut molta sort i tothom ha estat encantador.
Are there anything else I should absolutely do or see?
Alguna altra recomanació? Alguna cosa que hagi de
your recommendations?
O veure?
L'alcaldessa, no? Potser.
Maybe the mayor is...
Ara li farem recomanacions, sí, li omplirem el temps, l'agenda de coses boniques. Allà hi havia preguntes. Aquí també? Anem al mig, va, aquí. Aquesta noia que aixeca la mà i després aquí i seguim, vale?
Hola, bona nit. Bueno, primer de tot, estàs guapíssima. També m'encanta el verd. Volia preguntar-te sobre la pel·lícula, que hi ha escenes que són bastant emocionals, no? Perquè vas visquent també la pèrdua d'una parella, un amant, no? I que emocionalment quina havia sigut l'escena més difícil i si n'hi havia hagut o no, que potser no. Gràcies.
Well, I had to, whenever I'm reading a script and it says she bursts into tears, I'm always nervous I'm not going to burst into tears. So I dread when those scenes come up. And originally in the script, when my boyfriend comes, this is a secret, when my boyfriend comes, they got married and sang songs and had sex and everything. And I said to Ridley, I just find this so difficult because she just killed somebody because she's remembering her rape. If I do that, I'm going to break down and cry and cry and cry and cry because I think it would be a trigger. And then the very next scene, I have to burst into tears because I find out that Brad Pitt has stolen our money. You can take it from here.
Yes. Doncs bé, em vaig posar molt nerviosa quan vaig veure el guió que havia d'esclatar a plorar. Originalment, i això és un secret que us explico, en el guió, quan ve la meva parella, es casen i havien de cantar cançons i tenir sexe, etc. Però ella va pensar, mira, un moment, acaba de matar a una persona, això desencadenarà que es recordi de la violació que va patir, serà un element desencadenant i em posaré a plorar. Però després es va haver de posar a plorar igualment perquè el Brad Pitt li roba els diners.
So, Ridley said, well, if you're not having sex while Gina's having sex with Brad, then I don't know what I cut to. So then we improvised a scene, which is the scene that's in the movie where we do not have sex. But then the next day, when I find out about the money's gone, it was supposed to shoot later on in the day when I was a little bit looser, but instead it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And Ridley said, I'm sorry, but the light is wrong. Do you think you can do it now? And so I had to try to get my head around that. And he said, if you can't do it, we'll try it again later. But so at that moment, that was a difficult one to just suddenly emotionally have to, burst into tears. Mm-hmm. And but we managed to get it, but that was a tricky one.
Doncs bé, si no havia de tenir relacions sexuals amb la meva parella, mentre la Gina les tenia amb el Brad Pitt, doncs vam pensar, ara què fem? Doncs improvisarem i tindrem una escena sense sexe. Però el dia següent és quan havíem de rodar l'escena de que havien robat, el Brad Pitt marxava amb tots els diners, no? I va dir, doncs ho farem un altre dia. Eren les 7 del matí i ella va dir, ara ho faig, potser ho podem fer una miqueta més tard. O sigui que potser si hagués d'escollir emocionalment una escena difícil és aquesta, on s'ha de posar a plorar.
Also, when we blew up the truck, they cleared everybody behind us for 2 miles, and we were standing there, and camera was behind us shooting the truck, and I said, I have small children, you put me right in the front, and you're not even seeing that it's us. That makes me very nervous. So he put a camera in the front shooting us, and we still blew up the truck.
També l'escena en què fan saltar el camió en l'aire, van posar tothom darrere d'elles a més de 2 milles, 3 quilòmetres i pic de distància, i ella tenia la càmera darrere i va dir, compte, perquè jo tinc fills petits encara, i a més no es veu que som nosaltres, o sigui que estava molt nerviosa rodant aquesta escena, al final van posar la càmera al davant.
Aquí, sisplau.
Bona nit. Mira, i avui és la primera vegada que l'he vista. Volia dir, en el moment que fas l'escena que quasi violen a la Gina i dius que no podeu anar a denunciar perquè ha estat tota la nit ballant amb aquell home, avui en dia encara passen aquestes coses. Què pots dir que podríem canviar com a societat perquè no passi?
She was not born when the movie was filmed. Today she saw it for the first time. And that the scene where that man is trying to rape Gina, the question is, these things still happen nowadays. What could we do in order to prevent those things from happening? Because it's a very...
Well, to prevent it from happening, I think that we need to have people take care of each other. You know, I have 2 sons and I always tell them, if you're somewhere where there's a young woman, if one of your friends gets really drunk or something, you can't leave her. You have to stay with her or bring her home or do something. So I think we have to educate our children to take care of each other if they're going to drink. And then the other thing is we have to hold people accountable when that happens. If you get away with that kind of behavior, on campuses, for instance, there was a lot of rape in fraternity houses where people protect each other and don't talk about it, then I think it enables it to happen more often. So I would say first education to make sure that people don't leave anyone behind when they get messed up. And secondly of all, to make sure that women are believed if they talk about it, or men if it happens to them, and that also they're held accountable for whatever happens.
Doncs, primer de tot, el que podríem fer per evitar que passin aquestes coses és cuidar els uns dels altres. Jo, per exemple, tinc 2 fills i sempre els educo i els dic, mira, si has begut o si veus amb una dona que està beguda, no la pots deixar mai sola, l'has de portar a casa. O sigui que el secret està en l'educació, no només l'educació, sinó fer que tothom es responsabilitzi dels seus actes. Si te'n surts sense conseqüències, això és molt dolent, i això ha passat durant molts anys als campus universitaris i amb tot el tema de les fraternitats que amagaven molts secrets. Cal capacitar la societat perquè se'n facin responsables, és a dir, que el primer tema, la primera solució seria l'educació, i segon, creure a les dones quan en parlen, o a un home, si és que en parla, però sí, que tothom se'n faci responsable.
Is the culture in Spain, has it changed here? I mean...
Hi ha hagut canvis aquí a nivell cultural a Espanya o no?
Sí, s'està fent un esforç, no?
We're making an effort.
Però lamentablement és notícia dia sí dia també, no? La violència de gènere.
Gender violence is still pretty much part of the news.
And why do you think it doesn't change?
I per què creieu que no canvia? En silenci. Education.
Potser la propera pregunta ens doni alguna pista, no ho sé, allà per exemple. A veure, tenim... Bé, aquí i allà. Sí.
Sorry, well, a pleasure talking to you, Susan. I'm very happy you're here in Barcelona. I'd like to ask you if you have liked to play Gina's role instead of yours, and if you are planning to be in a thriller movie. Because I can't remember that you have played a thriller, and that's all. Thank you very much.
La pregunta és si va demanar fer el paper de la Gina també i si està pensant participar en cap thriller, perquè li sembla que mai ha estat en un thriller, oi?
I think The Hunger was kind of a thriller with David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve. And I did another one with Paul Newman that was a murder mystery. I've done a DC comic movie that hasn't come out called Blue Beetle, where I play the bad guy. That's more of an action kind of film. I'm trying to think if there's any other... and what was was the beginning part of the question? I forget.
No, has esmentat diverses pel·lícules, The Hunger amb David Bowie i Catherine Deneuve, on li sembla que era el més proper, amb un thriller, també una pel·lícula amb el Paul Newman, i ara sortirà una altra que es diu Blue Beetle, on ella fa de dolenta i és una pel·lícula una miqueta més d'acció. Quina era la primera pregunta?
It was about Gina, right? It was, yeah.
Sobre la Gina.
When I got the script, I had a choice of parts. And I think they must have offered to a lot of other people already. But anyway, I got it and Ridley asked me. And I thought Gina's part would be more fun, but I had played kind of that dipsy kind of person before. And though my part was maybe more boring, I thought it was harder. It would be more difficult for me. So, because she actually has to drive the movie, the car and the movie. She has to keep it together. And so I thought that would be more of a challenge for me.
Doncs quan em van presentar el guió em van deixar escollir qui volia ser, no? El Ridley Scott m'ho va preguntar. De seguida vaig veure que el paper de la Gina era més divertit, però jo havia fet ja aquest paper de noia despreocupada abans i sí, és veritat, me'n vaig adonar que el meu paper era més avorrit, més difícil, perquè havia de conduir no només el cotxe, sinó que havia de fer de fil conductor de la pel·lícula, o sigui que seria més exigent per a mi.
Hem de fer les dues últimes preguntes. Teníem una pregunta aquí i una altra anirem al fons, que estava la mà aixecada des de fa molta estona. Aquí, por favor, ja està.
Hi Susan, here. Hi. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the movie. Thank you for all your career. I'm really excited to be here tonight. And I'm going to speak in Catalan now, it will be easier for me. Suposo que li han dit diverses vegades, però volia donar-li les gràcies per ser també una icona lèsbica, perquè sense que la pel·lícula mostri res més que una amistat entre dones, no teníem referents i ens havíem de mirar en personatges en els quals ens poguessin sentir identificades i crec que el personatge i tota la pel·lícula ho és. Ha parlat també de The Hunger, però no és una pel·lícula que arribés tant al gran públic i volia donar-li les gràcies per això. I m'agradaria saber si en algun moment...
A quina altra pel·lícula t'has referit?
The Hunger, però no va arribar tant al gran públic.
The Hunger. Quina?
The Hunger.
Oh, The Hunger.
Yeah.
Ah, The Hunger, vale.
I love The Hunger.
Sí, sí. But it didn't reach the audience so much, so she thinks this one reflects this very well.
Thank
you. Thank you for that.
La pregunta seria...
And the question is...